and you'll probably want to tap that occasionally, make sure it doesn't lock you out. Hello and welcome to our live telephone town hall meeting this evening. We'll be joined in a moment here by County Commissioners Chad Tedesco, Eva Henry, and Eric Hansen. They're here on the line to answer your questions about the issues important to Adams County residents. If you'd like to ask a question live in this forum, please do press 0 on your phone now or at any time during this call. There are just a couple of folks on, but we'll be joined by thousands of Adams County residents tonight, and we really do, what pushes these calls is your live questions and our answers, and that's really why we do them, is to do the Q&A, to get you answers to the questions that are important to you. So if you have a question you'd like to ask live in this forum, please do push 0 on your phone now or at any time during this call. We'll also be running some survey questions for you to participate in. You'll be able to vote on those using your touch-tone phone. We encourage you to stick around and vote on those. Finally, if you'd like to get occasional email updates from Adams County moving forward, please press 7 on your phone right now. I'm going to repeat this introduction just a couple of quick times here, and then we'll go ahead and get started with our program. Again, this is a live telephone town hall meeting, and welcome to it. You're on with Adams County. We'll have all 3 county commissioners here to answer your questions live in this forum during our town hall. We'd love you to ask questions. If you have a question that you'd like to ask live, go ahead and push 0 on your phone now. That's what drives these calls. We'd like to talk about any topics that are important to you, but some topics you might think about asking questions on are the Federal Boulevard and Weldy sub-area plans, the recent citizen assistance fairs. We'd love you to ask questions about Spaceport, about many of you may have read about the new federal numbers that show that Adams County has seen a nearly 5% increase in employment over the last year. Any question you'd like to ask live, we'd love to take it. So go ahead and push 0 on your phone now if you'd like to ask a question live. We'll get to it as many questions as we have in the hour that we have. And once again, we will be running some survey questions. You'll be able to vote on those using your touch-tone phone. We'll have a few of them, so go ahead and stick around for those. And one more time, if you'd like to give us your email address to get email updates from Adams County, push 7 on your phone right now. You can actually learn more about Adams County online at adcogov.org or on Twitter or Facebook at adamscountygov. Once again, that's adcogov.org or at adamscountygov. Now, once again, if you'd like to ask a question, please do push 0. That's what really makes these calls work, is your live questions. 0 to ask a question, 7 to give us your email address. And it's my great pleasure to introduce County Commissioner Chaz Tedesco to get us started. Chaz, go ahead.
Well, good evening. It's Chaz Tedesco, Adams County Commissioner, currently the board chair. Welcome tonight. I'm glad you could join us. I hope everyone is enjoying the great weather outside. We just want to start off the night by saying who we are and what really means something to us in Adams County. And also, Adams County, I have lived here for over 48 years, served in the military, came back, served as a mechanic for over 24 years, and now I'm currently a county commissioner. And I'll tell you, with the jobs, top priority for me is to try to create jobs, whether they're blue collar, white collar, any type of jobs. We have to cater to the businesses that we have in Adams County. And I think that everybody has heard the statistics that we're going to grow. We're one of the fastest growing counties. We're going to see our population maybe double within the next 20, 30 years. These are things that we have to be accountable for through our infrastructure, jobs being one of those infrastructures, and we're going to focus our attention on that. With that being said, I will turn it over and introduce Eva Henry, past board chair and currently the vice chair of Adams County Commissioners.
And I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their evenings and spending a little bit of time to learn about your county and about what we do here in Adams County. I'm Eva Henry. I am the vice chair of the board. And I kind of wanted to go over a little bit. I've been elected for almost 20 months now. I've been sworn in. And I wanted to go through the accomplishments we have done in the last 20 months. We've been doing town hall meetings, actually out in your neighborhoods. So we've done over 11 of them, if not more, in the last 20 months, getting out, meeting you, finding out what the community is. And for the very first time in over 110-year history, Adams County Commissioners were actually doing town hall meetings, going out and meeting with you. This telephone town hall is a good example of us trying to reach out to the people in the community and letting them know that we care, we want to hear from you, we want to know who we're representing and how we can represent you. Another thing that we've done is we've done some public hearings in the evening. evening public hearings. That way those people who are working and the issues in your neighborhood that are important to you, you'll be able to come to our public hearings in the evening. We do these on topics that seem to take an interest in the community. What we also had done is we created a communication department, and the communication department actually has brought you this town hall meeting to you with a lot of effort in regards to our communication department. I want to thank them for that. What we've also done is we did some redistricting about 10 months ago, and for the very first time in the county history, when we did redistricting, we actually took it out into the community, asking them for their opinions on where they wanted the redistricting. We're going from 3 county commissioners to 5 county commissioners this election. It is really important for you to know who's going to be representing you, and I would suggest that you take the time to get to know the candidates that are out there and running. With that, I want to go ahead and turn it over to County Commissioner Eric Hansen.
Good evening, everybody. This is Eric Hansen, Adams County Commissioner. I want to thank you also for being on the call tonight. It's an interesting experience. I've never done anything like this before, and I think it's a great way to reach out to folks, and so I hope you'll have an opportunity to call in so we can answer your questions. I do think Adams County is a wonderful place to live. My 2 kids and spouse and I have lived here for more than 15 years, and we're thrilled to be raising our family here and in this wonderful community. I see Adams County in a way, and kind of when I think about my priorities, as a community that is filled with opportunity. We've worked really hard over the last few years to add to the infrastructure of the county. Fast Tracks in particular, I think, is something that people are really looking forward to coming in a county that's under construction right now. I think people think about some of the other exciting things that you may not know about, but I think is pretty interesting is Adams County's working on a license for a spaceport. And that is sound a little futuristic, a little bit like Star Trek, but a spaceport I think is going to be coming to Adams County pretty soon, within the next 12 months, and we're excited because of the aerospace jobs that might bring. We're excited because of the opportunity that our citizens might have. That incidentally is called Spaceport Colorado, and we're thrilled to have the support of the entire congressional delegation to make that happen, and working really hard to have that occur at Front Range Airport, which is out east of Denver International Airport, if you've ever had an opportunity to be out there. Adams County, we're just real thrilled to represent you as your county commissioners, and looking forward to your questions tonight. I want to turn it back over to the moderator, whose name is Ian, by the way, which is his real name, as you folks might want to know. And he has, I think, some questions that people are going to ask us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Eric. And thank you, Chaz and Eva, as well. Once again, if you may have just joined us, if you'd like to ask a question live in this forum, please do push 0. A couple of you already have, and we'll get to our first live question in just a second here. But do push 0 if you'd like to ask a question, as Doug is about to. And if you'd like to give us your email address to get email updates from the county, push 7 on your phone. So again, 0 for questions, 7 to give us your email address. And our first live question comes from Doug. Doug, you're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. A couple of things. One, has Adams County considered the people that really perhaps aren't enthusiastic about growth, that kind of want to keep the status quo, that kind of like the quiet community? Does every county, does every municipality always have to grow? At some point, you grow yourself right out of business, and then people become disenchanted, and then the original people that were there, the natives, move away. And we've seen this in Denver and their expansion in Aurora. So that was my first comment, I guess. My question is, what are you folks doing about really improving the condition and the repairs of the roads? Not only are, in many cases, the off-ramps and other roads throughout Adams County very deteriorated, but then the repairs themselves aren't good and they don't last long. It just seems that we need to concentrate more on the craftsmanship of the repair and the initial build of the roads.
Great, thanks, Doug. Who'd like to start?
I'll go ahead. This is Commissioner Chaz Tedesco. I'll go ahead and answer. I think your question was the plans to improve roads and bridges and how we plan on moving forward in the future. I will tell you this, that we have comprehensive plans on the roads. We try to incorporate everything we can to prioritize which roads need to be repaired and what type of repair is appropriate for each road. Now, you bring up a good question about growth, and the reason that a lot of the roads that we see deteriorating so fast are because they're built for a certain amount of traffic. With our growth, that traffic tends to exceed the traffic that we've estimated for those roads. It's an ongoing problem. It happens everywhere. We try to make our dollars stretch as far as we can and incorporate more of the roads. I think that if you want a more in-depth detail as far as what the roads and what our plans for repairs are, I'll turn it over to Jeff. And Jeff, if you could introduce yourself and...
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Jeff Maxwell. I'm the Director of Transportation for Adams County. We have a real aggressive streets program that we're implementing. We started it a few years ago, and we're focusing on making sure that all of the streets within the county are at an acceptable level of service, meaning that they're in good condition and they're serviceable for us for a long time to come. That's a pretty aggressive project. It's going to take several years for us to implement it, but we're confident that the end product is going to be very usable roads in much better condition than you may be seeing them now. It's just going to take us a few years to get up to that standard, but we're very aggressively looking into that and addressing it every year. Our streets program is about $6.5 million per year, which we focus exclusively on improving roadway conditions, and we think you're going to see some real benefit from that real soon.
This is Commissioner Hanson. I want to add something about the first part of your question with regard to growth. I think that what you're experiencing is the same problem that they experience everywhere, and that is that we need to make sure that when we grow, because to be honest with you, growth is inevitable. I mean, I've got 2 kids. You know, God willing, they'll have a couple of kids. That's just kind of the way that it goes, and the metro area has exceeded 3 million in population, and you know we're about 500,000 of that just in Adams County. And at the end of the day, the question is, how do we manage growth as we move forward so that people can have a good quality of life that already live here, and ensure that the people that are going to be moving in, or the children of the people that want to buy homes that already live here, are able to do that as well. And I think you do that through good transportation planning. We take that very seriously. That's why we have a countywide transportation plan. In addition to that, that's why we support projects like Fast Tracks, which is the rail system that's going to be that's under construction now in Adams County and is going to continue to be construction through 2018. And that's why we're doing projects like the I-25 Managed Lanes project that's adding a lane up to 120th Avenue between 84th and 120th. I think we recognize that when you grow as a community, that has impacts on people's quality of life. Congestion, roads, those are the kinds of things that are a problem. It's one of the 5 priorities that the commissioners set at the beginning of the year, actually, is quality infrastructure. And so that's why we're spending literally tens of millions of dollars every year in maintaining and building roads right here in Adams County.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Commissioners. And thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate you coming in with that question. For those of you who've just joined us, if you'd like to ask a question like Doug just did and like Ray is about to, go ahead and push 0 on your phone right now. And you can push 7 to give us your email address to get email updates. We'll be running our first survey as soon as right after we take our next question. Our next question is going to come from Stephen. Stephen, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering what the commissioner's plans are to get the fast tracks down the 76 and the 85 corridor into Brighton, because as far as I know, there aren't any plans. When we voted on the fast tracks years ago, that corridor was the only major corridor that did not have fast tracks.
That's a good question, Stephen. This is Eric Hansen, Commissioner Hansen, and you're correct. The Fast Tracks plan, as it was voted on in 2004, included a line up the Union Pacific Railroad north along I-25, one west through the western part of the county through Arvada, and one east through kind of Aurora out to Denver International Airport. It did not include anything specific along the 76 or Highway 85 corridor. There were some things that were supposed to happen that we need to make sure that we hold RTD's feet to the fire on. One of them is that there's supposed to be some right-of-way acquisition along that area as part of the plan so that future rail along Highway 85 and 76 can happen. There is some long-term planning that's occurring for that corridor specifically. It's loosely being called NextTracks, which is that's not really an official name. It's just generally what people are calling it in the transportation planning world. And so in addition to that, there's also a program, there's a study that just completed in a planning study along Highway 85 looking at those kinds of issues. I think we take that pretty seriously. I think it's a long-term plan, but there is a long-term plan in order to make that happen. I think we recognize that if we don't do something now about this corridor, we're going to be in trouble, particularly with transit. We're sitting on that corridor right now. I can look out the window and see I-76. And I can tell you that we've been very concerned for quite some time about the lack of bus and rail service to the government center.
And this is County Commissioner Eva Henry. I also want to let you know that you have your commissioners out there that are your advocates. I sit on the DRCOG board, which is the board in the region that actually works with the RTD in regards of bringing some transportation up in this way. And Commissioner Eric Hansen serves on the North Area Transit Alliance, who also is a group of government entities that work together to make sure that they do what they promise that they're going to do in this region. But we all are concerned about trying to get bus service up into this area and up into the Brighton area.
And this is Commissioner Chaz Tedesco. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce one of our staff members that's key to our transportation in Adams County, and maybe could share some highlights of what we're doing in that area. Jean?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. My name is Jean Shreva, and I'm the Adams County Transportation Coordinator. And just to kind of bounce off some of the comments that were made by the commissioners, some of the things that we're working on specifically with RTD and our other local jurisdictions is to actually enhance bus service on 120th from the Broomfield Park and Ride over there off of Wadsworth and US 36 all the way to the Government Center here in Brighton. We're also working with the local jurisdictions on State Highway 7 all the way from Boulder to Brighton to see if we can get some bus service up in that area. And then we're working with Commerce City and the City of Brighton and RTD to actually take a look at where we would preserve that corridor that Commissioner Hansen alluded to it a little bit ago in terms of a future rail service that connects between, let's say, the East Corridor or down around the Stapleton area, Commerce City and the City of Brighton. So all of those things we're working on right now, as well as other opportunities to provide more service to Brighton.
All right. Thank you very much.
That was Jean Shreve.
Thanks, Jean. Thanks, Stephen, for the question. Thank you, commissioners, as well. We're going to get to Annette's question next, but a quick reminder, if you'd like to ask a question live, you can push 0 on your phone. If you'd like to give us your email address to get email updates, push 7 on your phone. Now, we want to know how you would rate the quality of life in Adams County, and you're going to be able to vote on this using your touch-tone phone. You can press 5 for being the best, you rate it very highly, or 1 for rating it lowly. Again, how would you rate the quality of life in Adams County on a scale of 1 to 5 using your touch-tone phone? Please vote now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 5 being high and 1 being low. How would you rate the quality of life in Adams County? Appreciate your participation in that, and we've got some other polls for you. Let's get to Annette's question live next. Annette, go ahead.
So I was curious of what you guys are going to do about the quality of housing in like the older part of Thornton, and just like there seems to be no codes that, you know, with your weeds and your trash and your garages condemning, and I mean just the stuff that people have sitting in their yards and all that, it makes Adams County look bad. So I was wondering, do we not have any type of code enforcement that's or any type of rules? I know the city of Thornton does itself, but what about, you know, like unincorporated Adams County and stuff? Where is some codes there?
Well, basically, we're definitely interested in revitalizing our neighborhoods, and that part of the community we're definitely been focusing on with the WellBe project, which I believe that is part of the WellBe neighborhood. We just finished up a sub-area plan on revitalizing that neighborhood. So yes, we're definitely working on that. And with that said, I'm going to ask our neighborhood service person to come over here and talk to you about the codes that we are starting to enforce.
Before we turn it over to Norman, who's our new Neighborhood Services Director, I just wanted to make a statement that in regards to the cleanups that we're trying to do, also within the Welby area and within the Berkeley area and in Strasburg, we tried to address some of these issues without being the heavy hand. What we did is we did some neighborhood cleanups, and we went out and we did a canvassing in the areas we were servicing. We allowed people to bring in their items that maybe were a code violation and to not have to take and spend their life savings to take it to the dump and have a place to dispose of it, which would alleviate some of the code issues that we were having with them. We're trying to make those types of services available throughout the county for these poorer neighborhoods so that they can deal with these issues of trash and code violations, and we're trying to help and work conjunction with them to make that happen. Now I'll turn it over to Norman, and maybe he can speak a little bit more.
Thank you, sir. And this is something I want to say to everyone who's on the line, if I may. If any of you have complaints or concerns about trash, junk, or debris in your neighborhood, please call us at this is the Neighborhood Services Department at 720-523-6986. And again, my name is Norman Wright. I'm the director. And just to further add to what our commissioners have said, in the past year so far, we have taken a more proactive approach to code enforcement, especially in areas that you're describing in the Thornton area, and we've doubled up already the amount of code enforcement cases that we would have in an ordinary year. So we're taking a much more proactive approach, but I think all of that being said, we can always do more, and so again, we would invite you to call us with any other concerns for any areas that you see in your neighborhoods at, again, the number 720-523-6986. Our officers are out there every day, and they can be out there to respond to anything that you call and request within 24 hours.
And I want to definitely encourage people, when you see something wrong, by all means, please call us. Adams County is very big, and we're not necessarily have eyes on all the streets, and it's your responsibility as well as it is ours to make sure that we keep our neighborhoods clean. So if you could definitely make those reports and call our neighborhood services, it would be greatly appreciated. And your neighbors won't know that you ratted them out.
All right. Thank you very much, Annette. Appreciate that question. We're going to get to our next question from Helen in a moment, but a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, push 0. We have a few people waiting in line. We appreciate your patience. We'll try to get as many questions as we can. We have about 40 minutes left in this call, so we're going to try to get to all of you. Again, if you'd like to push 7 on your phone to give us your email address for email updates from the county, we'd appreciate that as well. So 0 for questions. Press 7 to give us your email to get email updates infrequently from the county. And again, you can go to adcogov.org if you'd like more information on the county itself. We're going to run our next survey question after Helen's question, but for now, Helen, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Excuse me. I have trouble speaking.
Oh, you know what? And Helen, I've actually let me go ahead and read the summary that our operator gave me for your question. You can tell me if we've got it right. You live on East 105th Place, and the traffic is tremendous, and people don't slow down in front of your house, and you're worried about children in the area and cars going too slow. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, great. Who'd like to field that one?
So slow. They just fly it by here.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much, Helen.
Helen, it's East 105th and what? What's the cross street? Washington and 105th. All right.
Northglenn.
That's Northglenn.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the city of Northglenn that handles those areas. This is Commissioner Eva Henry. And so we don't have any jurisdiction over that. It's called what's called local control. So you would need to get a hold of your city council members in the city of Northglenn and talk to them about your traffic in that area.
What we will do, this is Commissioner Hanson, Helen. What we will do is I think somebody's trying to find a number, maybe?
What we're trying to do is try to find out if you could leave your name and number with one of our operators, and what we can do is we can find the appropriate people to contact within North Glen and call you back with that information so that you can call them directly.
So Helen, here's what we'll do. When we send you back into the form in a moment here, push 7 on your phone in just a couple minutes, and you'll get with one of our operators and tell them that you're interested in getting a call back from the city. So again, I'm going to put you back in the forum now. As soon as you get back in, push 7 on your phone, and we'll get you with an operator to get your information so that we can follow up with you, okay? All right. Any further comments on Helen's question?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Let's go to our next live question. It's going to be from Rose. I'm going to run a survey question real quick first, though. We want to know what kind of development you would like to see in Adams County. Press 1 if it's residential, 2 if it's retail, 3 if it's industrial, 4 if it's parks and open space, and 5 if you'd rather see no development at all. Again, what kind of development would you like to see in Adams County? Press 1 on your phone for residential, 2 for retail, 3 for industrial, 4 for parks and open space, and 5 if you'd rather see no development at all. Thank you for your participation in that poll, and let's go right to our next live question from Rose. Rose, you're up. Go ahead.
My name is Rose, and I live on East 77th in Commerce City. I've been here for over 57 years, something like that, since 1958. And it was nice and everything till they changed it to commercial. But my house isn't commercial. It's residential. And a lot of the older people have passed away, but new ones have moved in with children. Now my question is, we, the people in that era, that time years ago, we paid to have this road paid. We, the people, paid to have it paid. And now it's a throughway. No sidewalk. It's a one-way street. Semis, and they made it a through for everybody. And I don't think that's fair at all. Even if it's commercial, because there's a lot of children. I can't even open my door because we can't hear ourselves anymore. And no sidewalks, no nothing. And I would like to see if you people, the commissioners, could get on this and put, I don't know what you call them, but they're bumps, on the road, because it's like 2.5 blocks from 85 to Dahlia on 77th Avenue. And they go like bats out of hell. And one of these days, they're going to hurt somebody, or they're going to land in somebody's house because of the through traffic.
Rose, I'd like to answer your question. And your question was, what can we do for safety on some of these roads that have been in our system for a very, very long time and that are now changing in use? And I'll tell you, I appreciate your call because these types of situations come up all the time, and these are the types of things where we need our citizens to reach out and say, this is what we want you to look at as a county. Now, I'm not sure whether or not the majority of that road is in unincorporated or within Commerce City, but it is a joint effort that we can try to work with. And what I'd like to do is have somebody contact you, and maybe we can take a look at the road and do a survey of what is the real problem with the road and see if we can try to fit that into our CIP program where we can go in and do some type of, whether it's signs, whether it's speed bumps, or maybe a traffic light or anything that we could try to see that would address the problem. If it's with Commerce City, then maybe we can get the information to Commerce City and have Commerce City come out and look at this. So I want to thank you for that type of information because that's really what we're looking for. Where do we need to focus within the Adams County and on what types of issues? So thank you very much, Rose.
Great. Thank you very much, Rose. And if you'd like to give us your information to have somebody contact you back, again, you can push 7. You can also leave us a voicemail message at the end of this call, and that goes for anybody who's on the line. If you have any additional thoughts, if you don't have a chance to ask your question, we'll be going another half hour, but if you don't have a chance, you are welcome to stick around and leave us a voicemail message as well with contact information if you'd like us to get back to you. We're going to go to our next live question from Buck in just a moment. We've got another survey question for you to vote on first. We want to know, do you feel that Adams County is heading in the right direction? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 if you're not sure. Again, is Adams County heading in the right direction? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 if you're not sure. And I'll leave that vote open while we bring Buck up live to ask his question next. Buck, you're up. Go ahead, please, sir.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. My concern is about this stormwater tax. I live in a subdivision in unincorporated Adams County where the plat notes clearly stated that the homeowners are responsible for the ditches and the retention ponds, and the county had no responsibility. So how is it fair that I'm taxed again for that stormwater?
Very much, Buck. Appreciate that.
So, Buck, I think that one of the issues that we have is that we're currently in the middle of a lawsuit to determine, what is the stormwater. And I think that, with our attorneys in the room and with everything that's going on with this lawsuit, we're hesitant to make any comments until this lawsuit is brought forward and we can actually come to some type of a determination. I will say in a very short answer that if you want to contact our stormwater group within the neighborhood services, you can definitely do that. And I apologize if I'm going around the question, but again, it's, we have a lawsuit. We have to be careful as to, how we proceed forward with this. But I do appreciate the question. I think that it's a very important question, and I hope that we come to some resolution soon.
And also, Buck, this is Adams County Commissioner Eva Henry. What I would like to say is if you don't have stormwater coming off your property and you think that possibly, you could actually have a credit study done, I would suggest you call the Stormwater Utility Group and ask for a study being done on your property. Because if you don't have stormwater coming off your property, if you're able to mitigate your stormwater, then you'll actually be able to get a credit and you won't be charged that stormwater fee. So I would really encourage you to go ahead and call the stormwater utility and ask them about the credit study.
Great.
Hi, this is Commissioner Hanson. I don't think that I can comment, on the issue of whether it's a fee or a tax. I think that that's problematic from a legal standpoint because I think that's the question before the courts. I will say that I want to apologize, I think, for, since the very beginning, I think this has not been rolled out as effectively as it could have been. I think we can do better as a county government. I think that's one of the reasons why we organized things a little bit differently with our neighborhood services department because it hasn't worked as effectively as it could, I don't think. I'm not personally a big fan of the tax. I'll tell you that right now. I think that it's important to give us a chance to figure out how we can effectively put this together a little bit better. It's kind of unfortunate, but we are doing an audit to look into it, and I think it's gonna get better.
All right. And this is Commissioner Chaz Tedesco. I will say that until the legal system determines what the outcome is, this stormwater fee is something that we're going to be looking at and we're going to be addressing within the next few months. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Buck. And thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate that. Let's go to our next live question. It's going to come from Jesse. Jesse, you're up. Go ahead.
Hi, I want to thank you for having this town hall phone conference, first off. My question really comes to, I moved here in 2004 from back east, and has the county ever considered that for motor vehicle, instead of it being open 8 to 5 every day where people are working, my state back east had one day like Wednesday where instead of opening at 8, they would open at noon and go till 9 o'clock p.m. I know it was difficult when I came here to get the motor vehicle because I was commuting downtown, and so has that ever been considered?
Well, this is Commissioner Chaz Tedesco again. I want to thank you for your question. I will tell you this, that the county is always dedicated to improving our services. The motor vehicle being under the clerk and recorder, Karen Long is very good at her job. She's doing everything possible to look at everything and how she puts this program out. I know that the county with our sustainability. We put in a new position with the sustainability person, and we try to find ways, how are we going to be more effective? What kind of options can we have within the county to make it more serviceable to the constituents? I know that a lot of the ideas that have come up have been, is it reasonable to extend the hours, or is there a lobby management system that could be used? Is our social media area a way of getting out to the public and making things easier? So yes, we are trying to make those changes, and we're trying to address all of those. I will tell you this, that, you know, calling in on a town hall and expressing those views, but also calling the motor vehicle, which, by the way, I'm being told the hours are 7 a.m. to 5, and calling them and expressing those views also, so we can get them documented and get your true value as to what you want to see happen within motor vehicle is very important. So it's a great concern for us. We're trying our very best to work with each department and work out the issues as to what types of services, how we deliver those services, and what is the most effective way of those services being delivered to you. Thank you.
And this is County Commissioner Eva Henry. I want to thank you very much for your suggestion. I never even thought about having our motor vehicle department open until 9 o'clock at night, and I think that is really a great idea. And I would really, again, just basically repeat what Commissioner Tedesco said, is definitely give the clerk and recorder a call and talk to her about the hours that they are open at. But right now their hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that, I mean, 7 a.m. still is a little before any businesses open up, but yeah, that 9 o'clock idea is definitely a good one. So thank you for that suggestion. I appreciate it.
Yep, thanks a lot, Jesse. And I'm going to repeat just a couple of things real quick. If you'd like to ask a question, push 0. Almost everybody who pushed 7 to give us their email address has gotten through our queue. We had an overwhelming response. We really appreciate that. So again, you can push 7 on your phone to give us your email address, in addition to pushing 0 to ask a question. And finally, if you'd like more information on Adams County, you can go to adcogov.org, or you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook at Adams County Gov. That's at Adams County Gov. We've got our next live question up, and it's going to come from Pat. Pat, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about homeless shelters. When I have been working with a homeless couple for over a year, and I've learned the system, I think Adams County is doing an extremely poor job of having a homeless shelter available, and especially in the area of any animal shelters that could go along with homeless shelters. Affordable housing is almost non-existent, and I would like to see some efforts go into getting something done in that area.
This is Adams County Commissioner Eva Henry. Hi, Pat. I'm glad you called in. Right now, the Adams County Housing Authority is starting to look into homeless shelters. Adams County Housing Authority is actually a different organization than the actual Adams County, but we do fund them with quite a bit of money, and I do sit on their board. And they are starting to take a look at, through a housing study, on what is exactly needed here in Adams County. Our homeless population has increased immensely. It does concern me. We're starting to find people actually living along our rivers and communities that's definitely disturbing. Plus, we're also seeing more homeless people in our municipalities, which is also disturbing. But they're not just the ones that are living on the streets, but it's also the people that are doubling up. You're seeing large families. I have a family down the street that went from just a couple, empty nesters, to 11 people living in their 800-square-foot home because their children and their grandchildren cannot afford their own place. So housing is definitely a priority for me personally, but also poverty is a priority. Reduction in poverty here in Adams County is a priority for all the commissioners, and it is one of our top 5 priorities. But again, Pat, thank you for what you're doing for that couple. I know I've talked to you a few times at a few community meetings, and what you do definitely warms my heart. So thank you so much for caring.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pat. Thanks for being on our call. Really appreciate it. We're going to go to our next live question right away, actually. You don't need any more reminders from me on how to participate. Let's get Jeannie up next. Jeannie, you're live. Go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I have a question about the Midtown development over by 68th and Pecos. They have built up on the west side of Pecos some houses. They're very close together, and they never finish the park or the dog park or anything. They walk their dogs down in our streets because I live in the Pearl Mac neighborhood. We have yards and sidewalks. They come down in our neighborhood a lot, but I see they're moving dirt on the east side of Pecos. Has anything been done to change the how close the houses are together?
Thank you very much, Jeannie. I think what I'm going to do right now is we have our planning director here, Avel Montoya, and Avel is going to give you some details about what's happening in the Midtown area.
Hello, Jeannie. Thank you for your question. It's a very good one. The project for Midtown started back in about 2007, and due to the downturn in the economy, took a break for a little while. And during that time, the developers were able to sit down and kind of reinvent the image for Midtown. And basically what they brought to the table was something similar to what occurs in the Stapleton area and other communities within the metropolitan area, where the lots themselves are smaller, mostly marketed to people who don't have a lot of free time for yard maintenance and so forth. The lots are like that by design. The homes meet our separation according to the fire codes, which is a minimum of 6 feet. And the plan for the east side of Pecos is to do something very similar. However, there's not only going to be single-family homes. The thought is there's also going to be an apartment building and probably some attached townhomes along that particular area, as well as some open space with trails connecting to the Clear Creek Trail. We're currently working with the developer either in 1 or 2 phases to come in and plat that particular side. So we'll have public hearings shortly, maybe even one by the end of this year, but probably at least in the first quarter of next year.
Hi, Gene. This is Commissioner Hanson. I want to make just an observation about this. I think someone could maybe answer the question about when the park is going to be in, but I will tell you that the project itself is phased, which means that it's going to happen over a period of a number of years, because there's a lot of houses that are going to be built there, but that park is definitely going to be built. There's absolutely there shouldn't be any concern about that. And in fact, I think the Midtown development in general is a huge success story because that was previously an aircraft part factory. It was heavily contaminated. The group that is building the homes and developed the property has gone through an environmental remediation process to remove all that environmental contamination, which is really important because the Clear Creek is right next door, and we don't want that in our drinking water. And so it's in my opinion, a pretty innovative new development. Yeah, are the lots a little bit smaller? Yeah, they are. You're right. I think that's by design because the folks that are looking for that particular home are looking for that particular lifestyle. But I'm thrilled to have that development because of the cleanup that it's met for that area, particularly that old aircraft factory. I don't know if anyone has an idea. Do you know when that park is supposed to be built?
Yes, Commissioner Hanson, this is Avel Montoya, Planning Director. My understanding is there is a temporary smaller dog park that's adjacent to the commercial structures that have been built. But the long-term goal for the dog park is to be located on the larger 43-acre park site, which is currently being cleaned up. That's going to be a great asset for the community. We're working with Highland Hills Park and Rec District and the developer to make sure it's designed for the neighborhood and utilized by the neighborhood with other assets besides just a dog park.
And thank you very much, Commissioners, and thank you, Avel. Appreciate that. Jeannie, thanks so much for being on and asking that question. Really appreciate it. We've got about 15 minutes left in our call, and I want to make an announcement. This is your last opportunity to press 7 and give us your email address to get email updates from Adams County. There are a few people still waiting in line, but we're going to try to get to all of you. Again, this is your last opportunity to press 7 to give us your email address to get email updates. Similarly, if this is your last chance to push 0 to get in with a question before the end of our call, we've got about 15 minutes left, and our next live question is going to come from Grace. Grace, you're up.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, my question is why the county cannot pave Telluride between Bromley and 27th. It's heavily traveled, and it's never been paved. And you have to take 27th to get over to, anyway, you know where I'm speaking of. There's two large schools.
Grace, this is Commissioner Tedesco. I just want to answer your question because I think you'll be fairly happy with the answer, and that is that we have worked out an agreement with Brighton, and we are paving Telluride, and from what I'm told, it'll be done this year between 152nd to Southern on Telluride. And then as soon as we get that project done, it'll be turned over to Brighton, and Brighton will be taking care of the road. So I hope that answers your question. I know that, you've been looking for this for a long time. But again, Telluride is planned to be paved by the end of the year, 152nd Avenue to Southern.
Great. Thank you very much, Grace. Appreciate that question. We're going to get right to our next live question, and it's Millie. Millie, you're live on the line. Go ahead.
My question has to do with low-income housing and how it's ran. I've lived here in Adams County for 52 years. And right now you have to put your name on a list, but you can only do that one time per year. And it's kind of disheartening for my daughter who has 2 children. She works every day. She makes a little bit above minimum wage, and she doesn't qualify for nearly anything, barely food stamps. But for her to get into a low-income apartment is next to impossible.
Yeah, this is Eva Henry, and basically the way our low-income housing is handled, it's through the Adams County Housing Authority. It's handled through them. They basically get money from the federal government, which is a Section 8 applications. And this last year, unfortunately, we only had 250 vouchers that came out, and we had 4,000 applications. There is no longer a waiting list, and the reason why there's no longer a waiting list is because they now do it by lottery. So basically, they draw the numbers, so you no longer will have a 2-year, 3-year, or 4-year waiting list. However, I do know that Commerce City is opening up their voucher system. Commissioners, do you know what the date is on those by any chance? They're looking them up right now.
They're opening it this is Commissioner Tedesco. They're going to open it from Thursday, October 23rd, and Friday, October 24th.
And I believe they are taking names for a waiting list on their housing. So hopefully this will help you out a little bit.
So I'll read what it says, and it says the applications will only be available in person October 23rd and October 24th, 2014 at the Commerce City Recreation Center, 6060 Parkway Drive, Commerce City from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and bilingual staff will be on hand.
Millie, did you get that information?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being on the call, Millie. We're going to go right to our next live question. It's going to come from Carrie. Carrie, go ahead.
Hi. My question is, I have a traffic concern. I live in unincorporated it's unincorporated Adams. I have a Commerce City address. But I live off of 75th in Carnation, and behind me on Cherry is an auto body shop. The problem is, and I understand they're trying to run a business, but they block up the street with tow trucks and cars. It's a through street. There's a bend there, but they're parking cars on the bend. The school district has went as far as rerouting their busing route because they can't get the buses through. We've had a head-on collision with a UPS truck there. We've called, my neighbors have called. We don't know how to resolve the problem. We are being told that because they are trying to run a business that they can leave the cars parked out there without valid driver or license plates and stuff. So we don't know how to resolve the problem.
All right, Carrie, thank you for your call. I'm going to turn it over to our Neighborhood Services, Norman, and maybe he can give you some information as to how to proceed with this.
Can you give him your number again?
Yes, ma'am. And if I may, again, this is Norman Wright for Neighborhood Services. This sounds like this could be a land use violation, a zoning violation perhaps of some sort. And so let me give you our phone number again for Neighborhood Services. And if you would you please call tomorrow and you can chat with myself or particularly our code compliance division, and we can help you resolve this. We can have a code officer, again, out there within 24 hours. Our number is 720-523-6986, and I'll repeat that one more time. That is 720-523-6986. Again, if you'll call that number and ask for either myself, Norman Wright, or Ed Rodriguez, our code supervisor, we'll have an officer out there in 24 hours to help you with that issue. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carrie. I'm going to bring Carrie back in. Carrie, you got that phone number written down?
I did.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being on the call. Let's go right to our next live question. We've got Colleen up next. Colleen, go ahead.
Hi, I live in Brighton on 136th and Sable, and years ago we got a stop sign put up because we had semis driving by here, gas tankers at 60 miles an hour, drag racing, all kinds of crap. Got the stop sign up, but now I have semis using, it's a 40-mile zone, but semis are using their Jake brakes for a mile when they don't need to, 4 a.m. in the morning, and we've got people blocking our driveway so that we can't even back out of our driveway. What can we do?
Thank you, Colleen.
Wait, so, Colleen, this is Commissioner Tedesco. I'm not quite sure. We're trying to look around the room and who to hand it off to. I think I'm going to hand it off to Norman again. Norman is our neighborhood services.
No.
136.
Renee.
Oh, we're going to turn it over to Renee this time. We'll let Renee introduce himself. But that's a good question. I think that's one you've got the whole group on. So, Renee, if you could.
So, my name's Renee. I'm with the Transportation Department. I was going to ask if you could go ahead and give us a call at 303-853-7103. And the reason why I was asking you to do that this way your call will be forwarded to our traffic section, who will take a look at that specific issue and see if there's anything we can look at from a speed study perspective.
Wonderful.
So once again, that number is 303-853-7103.
You got that, Colleen?
Yes, and who can I talk to about, my husband collects cars. I can only drive one car at a time, but I have to pay this privilege tax on every single one of them. Who can I call on that?
The privilege?
Privilege
I'm
tax.
not sure what you're referring to, actually.
Road repair tax. I'm not sure what they labeled it. Priola one time.
Master bill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a few years ago the state legislature passed a law to put a fee on everybody's. I pay it too on the two vehicles that I've got that my wife and I drive on people's licensing for, and it goes. Most of it goes into the Colorado Bridge Fund, and so I can tell you specifically that it paid for the 84th Avenue Bridge over I-25, the 104th Avenue Bridge over I-25. It's partially paying for 104th Avenue over the Platte that's currently under construction right now. And so if you want to change that, however, you'd need to talk to the state legislature because that's a state law. We actually don't have anything to do with it, but that's just a little bit of information about what it is and what it does.
Great. Thank you very much, Colleen. All right. We've got just a few minutes left. We're going to get to our next live question from Mike. Mike, go ahead. You're up.
Yeah, over the past couple of years, freight traffic, train freight traffic has increased greatly along Highway 2 and Highway 85, and there's no overpasses or underpasses to bypass that. As a result, I find myself getting stopped by trains probably, 3-4 times a week. Is there any capital improvement projects looking into overpasses or underpasses over the track?
This is Commissioner Hanson. Yeah, we do have some long-term plans for some overpasses, particularly I think at 120th. But Gene Shreve our transportation planner, is going to give you more detail.
Hi. Yes, just to follow up with what Commissioner Hanson just mentioned, we're actually participating in a study with many of the jurisdictions that are adjacent to US 85 to actually take a look at where we need to strategically make sure we have great separations between the railroad and US 85 to make sure you have those crossings. So 120th and 104th are two of those that Commissioner Hanson mentioned. We're also looking at other opportunities to identify other locations for those. So if you would like, I would be more than happy to give you my number, and if you're interested in that study and keeping up on it, I'm happy to keep you updated on it, and anyone else who's on this call. So again, my name is Jean Shreve, and I'm the Transportation Coordinator, and my phone number is 720-523-6847.
Can you repeat that number just one more time for Mike?
Sure. It's 720-523-6847.
All right. Thank you very much for that question, Mike. Appreciate you being with us. We're going to get to our next live question, and it's going to come from Sandy. Sandy, you're up. Go ahead.
Hi. My situation is I've got these two houses that all of a sudden they are getting these big U-Haul trucks and these big box trucks, and I don't know if they're buying storage units or what, but they are overfilling their garages to where the stuff is pouring out of their garages, and it's making the neighborhood look trashy. And I mean, the front yards are nothing but dirt. It's just bringing the neighborhood down.
So I understand. This is Norman Wright, Neighborhood Services again. I understand the nature of your complaint, and if you could you, just for the sake of your convenience and ours, could we get the location of these houses? Because if you could provide us that, we could send someone out tomorrow to take a look at this issue.
Get their phone. Give them your phone.
Okay, it's off of Grace Court. So like off of 80th and Grace Court.
Very good. We'll send one out. Go
also,
ahead.
at the end of the opposite end, there's another house that I have put in complaints on. The house has been abandoned for like 10 years now. I mean, the roof is literally falling in. And like I said, it's been abandoned for, I say, a good 10 years.
Okay. Well, we will send an officer out tomorrow to look at these houses near 80th and Grace Court. The two houses with the particular junk and debris issues, as well as the abandoned house, and we will see where we can go from here. We've already been able to deal with some of these abandoned houses, and this may be another one. And also, just for everyone else who may have similar complaints or similar concerns, our number again is 720-523-6986. That's 720-523-6986. Thank you.
Great. Sandy, thank you very much. We're going to go to our next live question right away. It's Sharon. Sharon, you're live. Go ahead.
Hi. I would just like to ask, when you're doing fast track that's going towards Arvada, I have friends who live in the trailer parks on Federal, low housing trailer parks. I'd like to ask somebody to keep in mind that if you total those homes, those are low-income people that aren't going to have anywhere to go. And from the sounds of the call, we already have a problem with low housing opportunities for people in Adams County. So let's not put more people out of their homes and more kids out of their schools for that fast track.
Sharon, this is Adams County Commissioner Eva Henry. I appreciate you bringing that, but we've already have them on our radar, and we like to call it affordable housing because those people have lived there for a couple of generations in the mobile home park. We definitely have that on our radar. We're already having that conversation. It will be part of our Federal Boulevard sub-area plan. And I do appreciate you having some kind of concerns in regards to that. Affordable housing is really important. The Adams County Housing Authority has actually already started some property, or bought some property on 72nd and Federal to start building some affordable housing. So I definitely appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you being on, Sharon. All right, we're going to go to our last live question. We're almost out of time, but we're going to make sure we get Marcy in. Marcy, you're up. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call. I have a question. Recently in the Sentinel, it was announced that Adams County is seeking to tax marijuana. And I'm curious, from a county who doesn't allow it and talks about transparency, why that wasn't brought up sooner and the community educated about you seeking that.
Well, basically, it's what it's for is right now Adams County unincorporated area has a moratorium on it. This doesn't mean that we're lifting the moratorium on the unincorporated areas, but there's municipalities that are actually allowing retail sales, such as North Glen. The city of Aurora will be doing it the first of the year. Federal Heights is also looking at it. It allows us to go ahead and put a tax on that. And what that does is you got to figure marijuana affects all our communities. It also affects a lot of our social programs, like our human service issues. This will help take care of some of that problems that we will be getting from those other municipalities by having retail marijuana.
This is Commissioner Hanson. Amendment 64 that passed a couple of years ago is kind of interesting. I think that what people voted for is they felt, geez, if someone wants to smoke marijuana in the privacy in their own home, we probably shouldn't throw them in jail for that. And I can sympathize with that. I mean, I think that makes a certain amount of sense. I don't think that, however, people were thinking about the implication of what that means in terms of the retail selling of it, the growing of it, all of the taxing of it, and all of everything else that goes along with it, because it's actually quite a big issue I think the local governments are having to deal with on a regular basis. And so, as Commissioner Henry said, there is a moratorium on it currently. I personally hope that moratorium continues, because I think that's probably the right thing to do, because at this point I don't think we're ready to do that. It's an issue that I think everybody's dealing with, and that's how we're dealing with it currently in Adams County.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioners. And thank you, Marcy. We've actually run out of time. We went a little over the hour, but I'd still like to give each of our commissioners time to make just a couple of closing comments real quick. Let's go ahead and start with you, Eric.
Sure. I would just want to thank everybody for being on the line tonight. I think this was a great experience, and according to my what people are telling us, it looks like we had at one time more than 4,000 people on. I don't know what the total number is going to be, but I'm sure it's in the thousands, and I think that's pretty exciting to be able to use technology like this to reach out to people. I think that that's reaching out to people, I think, has probably been a pretty consistent theme with this particular group of commissioners as well, with the town hall meetings that Commissioner Henry already mentioned. And I'll mention one other thing, too, that I think is really important, too, and that is that when you come down to the county offices at 120th and Sable Road in Brighton, we have an open door policy, and that means that you can literally punch 5 on the elevator, go all the way up to the top, without any problem into the commissioner's office. And I certainly would invite anyone who wants to, come talk to us or come to a meeting, to do that. And I think that's kind of the way we have been in terms of an open door policy. This has been an interesting kind of ride tonight, I guess, I think, for everybody. A lot of really great questions, and I want to thank everybody for being a part of it.
And Eva, a few closing comments?
I definitely want to thank everybody for taking time out of their evening and spending time on the phone with us and learning a little bit about your county and the people in the community. So I think our grand total was 4,638 people were on the phone at one time. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep, and let's finish up with Chad Tedesco.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for your time, but I'd also like to point out something. We have probably over a dozen staff members that have taken time to be here all day working their jobs and also come in to help us with this town hall. These town halls are very, very important to us. This reaching out, and we're trying to find out what we can do better within the community. Did this town hall go off exactly as we planned? This is a work in progress, but we're trying to make that connection between your county government and what you do in your neighborhoods and what we actually provide. Your comments and your questions help us assess where do we need to go. Taking the survey that you had online today will help us with that. We're going to be in different neighborhoods next year. We're going to be doing the cleanups that we do. We're going to be doing outside town halls. We are going to be doing more of these telephone town halls. So we hope that you stay engaged. We hope that you follow the county. Please go to ADCO.gov and sign up for our email notifications and also on social media. And I want to say one more time, thank you very much to both the staff here and for all the over 4,000 constituents that called in to participate tonight.
Yep, thanks again for your participation. Again, that's adcogov.org, and if you'd like to leave us a voicemail message after the call, please leave any contact information if you want us to get back to you. Thanks so much for being on the call, and have a great evening.